Hello everyone, this is the Underdoll, and I've watched the first episode of Rings of Power, and a few things stuck out. Now I haven't done videos for quite some time. I'm just busy. I'm working two jobs, and life just happens. And I am looking at Rings of Power, the first episode, and what really stuck out was several things that stuck out. And what should I say? What really stuck out was the elves not speaking elvish, the elves not looking like elves, the elves not acting like elves, the elves wearing chainmail. Sorry, not chainmail, plate mail. The elves, well, they're just not elves. They don't even have long hair. They don't act like them. Elrond looks like a teenage boy. Gil-galad doesn't really make sense for what he's doing in this episode. Galadriel, this is basically her show. She is the bestest ever, ever, ever. She's basically a warrior. When the episode, so this is gonna be spoilers. I doubt anyone cares at this point because I mean, the dialogue is horrible, just awful. It doesn't really make sense on how they speak to each other. I don't think anyone even acts well in the show. I don't know if that's even them just acting bad, the producers and the directors being bad, or if it's just everyone is bad. Um, you have a black elf with no long hair, with a fade, which makes completely sense. How will you uh, how will you explain the removal of all dark-skinned people in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings? If this is the case in the diverse uh, Middle Earth of Amazon. How and then we do see some characters. We see basically the hobbits, and they only focus on the girl and the black guy, of course. And which doesn't really make sense because hobbits don't have a big role to play in the Second Age with the forging of the Rings of Power. And we also see um, Galadriel hunting orcs and Sauron, which doesn't make sense for what is said in the books, because she's not a warrior. She is powerful, but not in like the slaying. I mean, even Hobbit got this right. Even the backlash the Hobbits movies got, I mean, at least they got something right where she has no swords, she walks barefoot and fights Sauron with just being powerful. And so I mean, the dialect is just, it threw me so much off that it it is quite disturbing for someone if you've grown up with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, or you've read the books. It just throws you off. It is very distracting, and I mean, this is $1 billion show, and you would think that at least the people writing the dialogue would have read the books and just actually, or someone who can write in the sort of dialogue which would make sense in what Tolkien wrote, even quoted some, but they didn't. And Galadriel is the bestest ever. I mean, with a hunting party that they are hunting for Sauron, she is the fastest. She is the best. She's the one leading all the men, male elves. And while everyone else gets destroyed, she slays the cave troll with just a few hits, while everyone gets either killed or injured. And she has a brother, which somehow makes sense in all of this. And of course, she gets bullied by the other elves, the elf boys. This scene was so unnecessary. Um, what else? Yeah, Elrond is a politician, a speechwriter for Gilgalad, and is not invited for the Council of Kings or the Elven Kings. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. What really grinds my gears is Orondir, I believe he was called. Orondir. The black elf falls in love with a single mother who her father ran out. It's unclear what has happened, if he's killed or just ran off. With a diverse child, and he of course steps up, and they even mention this. So the writers of the show know the history of the books. They must have at least read something from the books, because they mention that elves and humans have fallen in love, and it didn't go well. Well, that's depending on how you look at it, because they did fall in love, but died. Um, but and then they have this random. Well, he's just a random warrior falling in love with a human, which doesn't even have any significance with the history of how Tolkien wrote things, because it was intentional of how he wrote things. And yeah, and with his superior of Arondir, I mean, he looks at humans as inferior, especially where they are stationed. So they at least know there are Southlings who were with Morgoth, where was basically the boss of Sauron, who makes Sauron look like a, yeah, like if like a puppy, I should say, or a kitten compared to Morgoth. And so I don't even know what to say. It's a mess. They screw with the lore. The when the elf captain, the way he speaks, in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, the the elves speak Elvish, and it makes sense. But here the elves in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, they speak English when they speak to humans and dwarves and hobbits, so they can understand them. But elves within or to each other, I mean, even Viggo Mortensen and Liv Tyler wanted to have the dialogue in Elvish to make it more special. And here they just speak plain English to each other, which I don't I don't even know. They should have done something like they did in Valkyrie, where they speak Elvish and then it slowly goes over to English, where it makes some sort of sense. So episode one, I don't even know how I would rate it. Just a, uh, it ends with just Galadriel, instead of going into Valinor, the Undying Lands, uh, which isn't in the books. She jumps off the ship and goes back because she has unfinished business because of her brother. Um, and then it ends with probably one of the wizards coming from the sky, a Maya, which is basically an angel, coming to Middle Earth. And we also had one small glimpse of the boy of the single mother having a sword of Sauron, so some sort of Morgul blade or something, which will probably be something, but I'm not excited for what this show will be, or has done so far. It was uninteresting. Nothing really happened. There was just one action scene, a lot of talking about feelings, especially with Galadriel. Um, yeah, and it's poorly acted, poorly written, poorly directed, poorly produced. Um, yeah, I don't even know what else to say. This is a $1 billion show. It's supposedly the greatest show ever made, and this is the opening salvo of what people are watching, and it's very, very unimpressing. Very unimpressing. Um, so let's see what the second episode is. I'm probably gonna watch it a little bit later, but this is not boding well. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.